Hello, hello, I am Sinner, and welcome to another video. In this video, I'm going to go on a ramble. I'm trying to keep it structured. I've got like the structure in my head, but we'll see how we go. So what is this conversation about? It is about Tyler Robinson, who is a assassin. He is the person who murdered Charlie Kirk. And if you are watching this, chances are you already know quite a lot of the details. It's basically one of the biggest news stories of the year. You know, there's always that meme like that September is going to have some crazy event, and September did not fail to deliver. So, what do I want to talk about? What do I want to bring that's new to the table? I want to talk about something that I kind of happened across, and it's strange. It's a good example. Sorry, what I actually want to talk about is the difference. Not, sorry. What I want to talk about is not about Charlie Kirk or about what the outcome of this whole debacle is going to be, but what I do want to talk about is the fact that there has been this interesting example of a mass psychology phenomena surrounding Tyler Robinson. And I think it's poignant it's worth pointing out. It's worth talking about. So, what is it? It's the fact that there are many people on the left, on the internet left mainly, who are of the belief that Tyler Robinson was a groper. And this strikes me as funny, or that he's broadly right wing. It's not necessarily the case that they believe he's a groper, but there's a lot of people who seem to believe that Tyler Robinson is a groper and is right wing. And first of all, let's break down why that isn't the case, why he's not a groper or right wing. First of all, if he was moderately right, it wouldn't make sense. So we can just take that out of the picture. You can't be in the same camp as the guy you're murdering, and it's a political assassination. Um, Second of all, Charlie Kirk and Nick Fuentes did disagree on things, but the way they disagreed and what they disagreed on was not the motivation for the murder. What do I mean by this? So, Tyler Robinson, you can ascertain, I'm not going to talk about the Bella Ciao thing. That kind of strikes me as, you know, say the person being of a anti-fascist sentiment, but the main motivation, you could say for sure, is that Tyler Robinson thought Charlie Kirk was too hateful. He said it to his trans male to female girlfriend, and he said it to like his um, he said it somewhere else. I forget where he said it. He said it to his trans male to female girlfriend, and I think he also said it on his Discord. Either way, the motivation for killing Charlie Kirk was that Charlie Kirk was too hateful of a person. So, had he been a groyper, would he have said this? No. It's simply no. Charlie Kirk, Nick Fuentes did not think Charlie Kirk was too hateful of a person. He did not think that Charlie Kirk spread hate. So what did Charlie Kirk and Nick Fuentes disagree on? If Tyler Robinson was a groyper, we should know what he would have said instead of there's too much hate. What he would have said is something along the lines of he's a Zionist shill, or he's like a race traitor or something, I guess. So The reason I say this is because the 2 points that I can see that Nick Fuentes and um, Charlie Kirk politically disagree on is one, Zionism and the Jewish question. Nick Fuentes is unironically an anti-Semite, and he buys into certain Jewish conspiracy theories that Jews basically control America, that they manipulate the media, they're, lying, stealing, blah, 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 blah. You get the whole point. And then Charlie Kirk is obviously a Zionist. He's not like a hardcore Zionist. I wouldn't put him on the same page as like Ben Shapiro, but still a Zionist. And then nationalism. Nick Fuentes is a white nationalist. He believes that America should be a white country, or it is a white country and should be preserved as such. Whereas Charlie Kirk is a civic nationalist. Charlie Kirk is of the belief that anyone who works hard enough and adheres to American values can become an American. So these are the 2 points of disagreement between Charlie Kirk and Charlie Kirk and Nick Fuentes. So, if that's the case, if Tyler Robinson were a groyper, he would have said something along the lines of, I gotta kill this Zionist, or I gotta kill this race traitor, or something like that. I don't know. He wouldn't have said, it's too much hate. He's too hateful. And also from the bullet casings, the Hey Fascist Catch one and the Helldivers code, I don't know if that's a meme, like a Helldivers meme, Hey Fascist Catch. Maybe it is, and maybe I'm missing something, but if you believe that, Charlie Kirk's a fascist, that's worth looking at, because there's only one group of people that I can think of that would accuse Charlie Kirk of being a fascist and accuse Charlie Kirk of being hateful, and that is the left. So, from this basic reasoning, this basic deductive skills, we can go, if Tyler Robinson is a groyper, he would have murdered Charlie Kirk for different reasons and expressed that. But instead, he expressed negative sentiments about Charlie Kirk that are the same negative sentiments that the left feels about Charlie Kirk. So he's definitely a leftist. Now, if he's like Antifa or something else, I don't know. He's definitely a leftist, though. You can't have... I doubt there's any groypers out there who think that Charlie Kirk's too hateful and is in a relationship with a trans person. I'm just not buying it, okay? Anyway, but on to the main point, which is actually not to do with whether or not he is a leftist or a groyper. He is a leftist. But the main point of this video is to talk about the fact that the left have deluded themselves, mainly online. The same people who celebrated his death, it seems, have deluded themselves into thinking he was right-wing, that he was a groyper. Now, why is this interesting? Because it is an example of a mass delusion. And I think it tells us a lot about social media and politics on social media. So, what does Gustave Le Bon say about how ideas in a crowd spread, or in a large number of people? There are 3 things you need to make an idea spread throughout a population. 1, affirmation. 2, repetition. And then 3, contagion. So how does this work? Well, I think first of all, there are particular motivations for a left-wing person to either believe or to not want Tyler Robinson to be right-wing. A left-wing person has motivations for Tyler Robinson to be right wing in or spread that idea around. Why? It's really bad optics if a guy from quote unquote your side goes around killing people. That looks really bad on you guys, right? So there's a basic answer there. I'm not going to speculate too deeply on it, but the point is there's probably enough people on the left who are willing to accept, who don't want to accept the idea that Tyler Robinson was left wing because it would look bad. So first, affirmation. Tyler Robinson was a groper. Tyler Robinson's a groper. Tyler Robinson's a right-wing extremist. Now, one of the things about affirmation, according to Gustave Le Bon, is it has to be a very simple and easy concept to understand. You cannot spread, like wildfire, a concept that is complicated, that is hard to understand or is nuanced. So, in our case, how that is manifest is he's right wing, look at this photoshopped image, or he's right wing, look at this person who tweeted it, right? The point is, and I'll say this, the point I'm going to bring up on this is that short form media like tweets or X posts, I don't know what they're called, and things like TikTok and Instagram Reels lend themselves so that everything on the internet is affirmation. You cannot have a well-structured, you cannot have a well-structured, thoroughly laid out argument in a short TikTok video or a tweet. It's just not possible. So, we have an affirmation. He was a groper. Next, we have repetition. How does this work? The feed. So, you as the individual will see over and over and over again on your Twitter feed or on your For You page on TikTok or whatever, over and over again you see people saying, oh, he's a groper, he's a groper, he's a groper, he's a groper. And then that puts you in like this state where it becomes very easy to accept something if it's affirmed over and over and over again. This is a very classic advertising tactic where the advertisers they won't try and, convince you very thoroughly. They'll just show the product that they want you to buy a gajillion times over and over, and then you'll buy it. Very, very common. And then what happens is, if it's repeated, you will believe it without really doubting it. You'll believe it without really thinking about it. Because that's just sort of how humans kind of operate on a psychological level. It's very easy to do this. And then the final thing is contagion. Once you have seen the affirmation and it's been repeated to you enough times, what you'll do is then you'll affirm that affirmation and spread it yourself. And through this, any idea can spread like wildfire. It doesn't necessarily have to be a delusion. It can be a true idea. It just has to be very simple and without argument. So it's not Tyler Robinson was a groper because of X, Y, and Z and A, B, and C. No, that's too complicated. Just he was a groper. Keep it very, very simple. And overall, this is probably one of the most poignant examples I've seen since I've read The Crowd, The Study of a Popular Mind, of a mass belief or a mass delusion spreading itself very rapidly among a particular group of people. And, some of you might say, well, I don't know if mass psychology applies to social media, or crowd psychology applies to social media. Really? Really? Come on now. Come on. I think it absolutely can apply to social media. I think it's the perfect thing to apply to social media. Well, anyway, I think that's really all I have to say. I just thought it would be fun to talk about um, the fact that this example of a mass delusion, the idea that Tyler Robinson is a groyper, is actually a really good example of um, mass psychology in practice. A perfect example of an idea that basically rapidly spread over the course of like a few days to potentially thousands of people. And on that, I have one other thing to say, which is something I was thinking about when I was rereading The Crowd because I was thinking about it, um, and that is, it's kind of crazy, right? Like it's kind of insane, and here's why. Here's why it's kind of insane. If over the course of a couple days, someone can be tricked into believing a delusion, right? Or a large group of people can be tricked into believing a delusion. Let's say in 4 days, that's all it took. 4 days for you, the lefty, to believe a delusion. And the right isn't immune to this. This is not like a left-right thing. It's just a mass psychology thing. No one's really immune to it. Well, that means in, let's say, a week, you could presumably learn or affirm and spread two delusions, which means in a year, that's 52 weeks in a year, that's 104 delusional beliefs. In 10 years, right, that's 1,040 delusional beliefs. That is insane to think about, right? That shows, I think, sort of how quickly, and even in a year, how quickly you can have a rapid degeneration of understanding if you use social media too much. And I don't think there's a cure for this. The, the reality is all forms of, especially short form social media, um, have this negative psychological aspect to it. The only really prudent thing you could do is avoid it. I mean, at least with, old school propaganda in the form of a newspaper, it was kind of straightforward and at least it was more honest. Like if a guy was buying the communist newspaper, yeah, it was propaganda, but at least he was buying it, so he was consciously accepting the propaganda. And that's sort of one of the things I like about books is if you read a book, you buy the book and you're consciously choosing to consume this piece of knowledge with these, and okay, this guy has these particular views, he has these particular points, so you're more conscious of what you're consuming. But with social media, that's not the case because it's all algorithm based. So it's very easy to have beliefs thrust upon you in a way where you might not necessarily have your mental guards up. Anyway, I think that's enough from me today. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. I hope this is something that other people find interesting. Um, Anyways, I am Sinner. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.